Something is shifting behind palace walls, and this time it's not rumour or idle speculation. Quiet moves are being made, contingency plans are being drawn up, and senior royals are bracing for a scenario many believed was no longer on the table. Prince William and Princess Kate are not leaving anything to chance right now. Behind the scenes, the Prince and Princess of Wales are said to be moving carefully, deliberately, and with a clear awareness that the ground beneath the royal family may be shifting once again. According to recent reports, this isn't about optics or routine palace housekeeping. It's about preparation. And more specifically, it's about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Last week, reports emerged that William and Catherine had quietly brought in a crisis management expert, Liza Ravenscroft. This wasn't announced with fanfare, and there were no glossy briefings or official confirmations from Kensington Palace. Instead, the information surfaced gradually, the way sensitive royal matters often do. The timing, however, raised eyebrows. Why now? Why a crisis manager at a moment when the Waleses appear, at least publicly, to be focused on family, health and stability? According to the Daily Mail, this move was not random at all. Royal editor Richard Eden reported that the decision was linked directly to growing concerns about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and what may be coming next. The sense, according to insiders, is that William and Catherine believe trouble could be ahead and that it may be coming from a very familiar direction. At the heart of the concern is the possibility of a renewed UK presence for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. For years now, Harry and Meghan have existed in a kind of royal limbo. Technically members of the royal family, but operationally outside the institution, living in the United States, financially independent, and often openly critical of the monarchy. That distance has provided a form of insulation for William and Kate. But if that distance begins to shrink, the dynamics change dramatically. Richard Eden's report claims that what he describes as an establishment plot is gaining momentum, aimed at bringing Harry and Meghan back into the British fold, at least partially. This isn't necessarily about full-time royal duties or a return to palace life as it once was. Instead, the focus appears to be on normalising their presence in the UK and rehabilitating their public standing, both with the royal family and with the British people. One of the most significant elements of this alleged plan involves security. A decision is reportedly expected within weeks on whether Prince Harry's automatic armed police protection will be reinstated during UK visits, with the cost covered by British taxpayers. This issue has long been a flashpoint. Harry has repeatedly argued that he and his family are at risk without state-backed security, while critics argue that stepping back from royal duties should mean stepping back from publicly funded protection. If armed police protection were reinstated, even on a limited basis, it would mark a major shift. Symbolically, it would suggest that Harry is being reabsorbed, at least in part, into the royal system. Practically, it would make UK visits easier, safer, and more frequent. And politically, it would reopen debates that many within the palace and the public believed were settled. According to Eden, this is where William and Kate's concerns come into sharp focus. The Prince and Princess of Wales are acutely aware of how destabilising the Sussex saga has been over the past several years. The Oprah interview, the Netflix series, Harry's memoir, and a steady drip of allegations and grievances have all taken a toll not just on the monarchy as an institution, but on personal relationships within the family. For William especially, the wounds are widely believed to run deep. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired, and there is a strong sense that the future king views any potential return of Harry and Meghan not as a reconciliation, but as a renewed source of risk. Risk to the family's privacy, risk to its unity, and risk to the carefully managed public image that William and Catherine have worked to cultivate. The report goes further, suggesting that speculation about Meghan potentially returning to the UK this summer is part of a broader strategy. On its own, a visit would not be remarkable, but combined with other developments, it takes on a different meaning. Around the same time, reports surfaced that Prince Harry had invited King Charles to attend the 2026 Invictus Games. While such an invitation could be seen as a gesture of goodwill, Eden suggests it may also be a form of pressure. The idea is that these moves talk of UK visits, high-profile invitations, security negotiations are all pieces of a larger effort to soften resistance within the royal family and the establishment. To make a return seem inevitable, reasonable, and even necessary, and to frame any reluctance from senior royals as stubbornness rather than caution. This alleged effort has been given a name: Project Thaw. According to the report, the aim is to warm up the Duke and Duchess's frosty relationships not only with the royal family, but also with the British public. The language itself is telling. A thaw implies that the ice will melt naturally if given time and gentle pressure. It suggests that opposition is temporary and that reconciliation is simply a matter of patience and persistence. But from William and Kate's perspective, a thaw may feel less like a gentle warming and more like a slow flood. Once the barriers are lowered, it may be difficult to control what comes next. This is where the hiring of a crisis management expert starts to make sense. Crisis management is not about reacting after something goes wrong. It's about anticipating scenarios and preparing responses before they unfold. For the Waleses, those scenarios likely include renewed media scrutiny, revived public debates, and the reopening of old wounds. They may also include internal family tensions, especially if King Charles is perceived as being more open to reconciliation than his elder son. Charles, after all, has spoken publicly about his love for Harry, and there is a widespread belief that he wants peace within his family, particularly as he navigates his own health challenges and reign. That desire for peace, however, does not necessarily align with William's priorities. As heir to the throne, William is said to be focused on stability, continuity, and the long-term survival of the monarchy. From that vantage point, bringing back a couple who have proven willing to air private grievances on a global stage may seem reckless. Princess Kate's position is also crucial. Over the years, she has often been portrayed as a mediator, someone capable of smoothing tensions and encouraging harmony. But recent reports suggest that her patience may be wearing thin. Having endured intense scrutiny herself, and having worked hard to protect her children from the worst excesses of public life, Kate is unlikely to welcome any development that could reintroduce chaos into their carefully guarded family bubble. There is also the question of public perception. While opinions about Harry and Meghan vary widely, it is undeniable that they remain polarising figures in the UK. Any move to reinstate security or facilitate a return would be scrutinised relentlessly. Supporters would frame it as compassion and fairness, while critics would see it as capitulation and privilege. William and Kate would be at the centre of that storm, whether they wanted to be or not. The Daily Mail report suggests that the Waleses are keenly aware of this. By bringing in a crisis expert now, they may be seeking to ensure that they are not caught off guard, that they have clear strategies in place for messaging, boundaries, and damage control. and that they are prepared to protect their own reputations if decisions are made above their heads. What makes this situation particularly complex is that so much of it hinges on perception rather than official policy. Project Thaw, if it exists, appears to operate through influence, suggestion, and incremental changes rather than formal announcements. That makes it harder to oppose directly. How do you push back against something that is framed as kindness, reconciliation, and family unity? For William and Kate, the answer may lie in quiet firmness rather than public confrontation. Setting clear limits, controlling narratives, and ensuring that their own role within the monarchy remains distinct and uncontaminated by past controversies. There is also an underlying generational element at play. William represents the future of the monarchy, while Charles represents its present. Their approaches to Harry may differ not because one is right and the other wrong, but because they are operating under different pressures. Charles may be thinking in terms of legacy and healing. William may be thinking in terms of governance and prevention. If Harry and Meghan do return to the UK in any meaningful way, the ripple effects will be felt far beyond family gatherings and balcony appearances. It would reshape media narratives, influence public opinion, and potentially alter the balance of power within the royal household. It would also raise uncomfortable questions about accountability, trust, and the consequences of past actions. From the Sussex perspective, a thaw could be seen as vindication. Proof that their criticisms did not permanently exile them, and that the institution they challenged still needs them, or at least needs peace with them. From the Wales perspective, it could feel like reopening a chapter they believe was closed. This tension is likely why the coming weeks are being described as critical. Decisions about security, visits, and public engagements may seem technical, but they carry enormous symbolic weight. Each choice sends a signal about who is in, who is out, and on what terms. For now, William and Kate appear to be bracing themselves, not publicly, not dramatically, but strategically. The hiring of a crisis management expert suggests that they are thinking several steps ahead, aware that even the most carefully laid plans can be disrupted by forces beyond their control. Whether Project Thaw succeeds or stalls remains to be seen. What is clear is that the possibility of Harry and Meghan's return has already altered the atmosphere within the royal family. The ice may not have melted yet, but the temperature is rising, and William and Kate are making sure they're ready for whatever comes next.